Hi, and welcome to the Barely Normal podcast. This is episode 19, and I'm your host, Luke. I hope you're having a good day. Are we being farmed? I know it's a weird question, but we tend to see things from our point of view. And for all we know, we do know that we are part of other species' life cycles. And for all we know, we are being farmed to keep them alive in a weird way. For instance, leafcutter ants. They don't eat the leaves. They farm fungus, and that fungi eats the leaves. And when a new queen goes to a new colony, wants to start a new colony, she takes a small part of this fungus. So from the fungus's point of view, maybe they have farmed ants, even though the ants adopted this behavior 64 million years ago. But maybe this was a way for both of them to survive in a weird way. But then you get, I suppose this is all along a spectrum, because you get other fungi that infect ants and turns them kind of into zombies and makes them climb high trees, walk out onto a branch, bite down onto the vein of a leaf, and die. All things I'm sure that ant probably didn't want to do in the beginning of the day or before it was infected. But then, bloop, 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 out of its head pops a little mushroom, a little finger-like mushroom, a cordyceps, and that sprinkles off spores, and thus the circle of life continues. And if another ant gets infected and goes back to the colony because it's feeling a little iffy, it'll meet two, I suppose, bouncer ants who take it out into a field far, far away, dismember it, and because now they are infected, they kill themselves. How does that happen, that kind of complex behavior gets encoded in such a complex system? Or is it more on almost a cultural level, like the samurai or like bro code or something like that? Because surely these ants know that they have a short life, potentially. Maybe they are similar to police or something, but they are bred for this. It's interesting. Anyway. But it does make me think what role other organisms have in our behavior, in making us do things that we normally wouldn't want. Maybe risky behavior. Some scientists think that we are or Americans, or more people in general, I suppose, are a little bit more risky because of cats. Because 9 to 12,000 years ago, cats basically domesticated themselves. And they came in for food, and we started sharing our lives with them and loving them. But with them came toxoplasmosis, a little parasite that uses them as an Uber in their life cycle. Normally a rodent or something would come along and eat the cat feces and get toxo. And instead of being fearful of cats and the smell of cat pee, they would go towards it. But what if, because they say that like mice studies only account for like a fifth of the effects that carry over between humans and mice. So they are an analog, but only a limited one. So things that work in tests don't always work in people. But what if the thing that got carried across, if we have toxoplasmosis as humans, isn't risky behavior, but more cat-loving behavior? Like, look, the cats in the ancient Egyptian times, they lived good lives, But I suppose in a weird way that would be a genetic dead end for toxo if it comes into humans, because normally prey would be infected with toxo and then eaten by a cat. But we don't have any cats big enough to eat us. So we just love these cute little kitties, and round it goes, I suppose. But it does maybe explain a small portion of cat people, because, like, okay, fair enough, not all cats and dogs are this way, but you know the cliche. You wouldn't have a friend, or you wouldn't want to have a best friend who wakes you up 2 a.m, tells you about some crazy story about getting into a fight and almost dying over some girl that he had never met, and then pulls out a piece of liver out of their pocket, and they're very proud. They found it on the way there. They give it to you, and they seem a little unhinged, so you kind of listen to them, but they ramble on and they ransack your house, eat all your food, and and then when you kind of drift off because it was 2 a.m, they revenge peel over your pillow. These aren't things that seem healthy to me, so it does make me think maybe there's more at play. But at the same time, it's totally possible that things have infected us over times, at different times. Paleoanthropologist Svente Pabo, or Pabo Svente, I'm not sure. Please forgive me, Pabo. But I heard him say once that Homo sapiens were maybe a little crazy because we traveled over the seas to places that we couldn't see where we were going. And no other hominid did that. So it's very possible that something infected us, had the opposite effect to like rabies that makes you hydrophobic and scared of water. And maybe, gave us that little extra push that made Homo sapiens cross gaps of water and colonize new lands. And if you think of it, like pretty much every parasite that we have adapts to their host, and vice versa, and they keep changing. Like head lice, only found on humans. Human head lice is only found on humans because they have adapted with us. Human pubic lice are found on humans, but they're also found on gorillas. And from genetic studies, apparently this happened 3.3 million years ago, when somebody, I suppose, woke up one day and went to bed that night, probably a little unnerved and itchy down under. And that little present of flying crabs has been with humans ever since. So, we don't necessarily see the whole scope of where we fit into, life. We feel like we're on the top of the food chain, but we're probably almost certainly somewhere a very almost insignificant, well, we're definitely a significant portion of many other things' lives. Yeah, a massive life web, I suppose. But even, cognitive biases aside, like we don't even see things as they really are. Like Monet, the painter, he had cataracts in his eyes, and he had them removed. And back in the day, when you remove the cataracts, you also you remove part of your eye, and that part of the eye blocks UV light. So suddenly he could see a whole bunch of ultraviolet light that he couldn't before. It's a whole range of colors that normally we can't see, bluish colors. That maybe explains a lot about his paintings. But then, we do have a lot of cognitive biases. Like there's that jewel beetle in Australia that almost went extinct because the females are brown, round, and have brown, shiny little knobs on them. Almost, or very similar to the stubby beer bottles that long-haul truck drivers were throwing out of their windows. And the species almost went extinct. I don't know if the males thought that, this is safe sex, or if they really thought that these were, hot singles in their area. But it's very possible that we have lots of similar cognitive biases. That maybe we don't see time or space accurately, and we are eating the fruits of a 3-dimensional fruit of a 4-dimensional creature. And maybe that fruit is air or water or our technology, and they live for billions of years and the crap that we make in millennia, they survive off, for all we know. Anyway. Hopefully, if we are being farmed, that it's a good cage. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll chat to you soon. Love you. Bye.